So we've built arpeggios from each chord that's built on the degrees of the major scale. What's fascinating and so exciting about this approach to playing jazz is that we can build scales very easily from these arpeggios without having to know any fancy theory, any crazy Greek names, or open up any 355-page books. All we need to do is use our ears and a little common sense, and we can put together all the scales that we'll ever need in jazz improvisation. Let's check it out here on the guitar. So we know that the first degree chord in the key of C major is a C major seventh. And the arpeggio we built there is built on the root, third, fifth, and seventh. Well, first off, the simplest way that we can build a scale on that arpeggio and on that chord is simply to fill in the 1, 3, 5, 7, the 4 notes, with the remaining 3 notes, 2, 4, and 6 from the C major scale. So if we have this, we can add 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and we've got a perfectly theoretically correct, musical, and beautiful scale for us. We can do the same thing here with D minor. D minor 7, 1, 3, 5, 7, built on the D note. And then we fill in the 2, the 4, and the 6 from the C major scale. We have a perfectly good scale there. We don't need to worry about what it's called because we got a D minor chord, a D minor arpeggio, and a D minor scale. Simple as that. E minor 7, E minor 7 arpeggio. And now we can fill in the notes from the C major scale that are in between, and we have a perfectly good scale for E minor 7. We can call that an E minor 7 scale. We can do the same thing for all the degrees. F major 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. G7, the same thing. 1, 3, 5, 7, starting on G in the key of C. Add in the 2, 4, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we've got a beautiful G7 scale. A minor, A, C, E, G. 1, 3, 5, 7. Add in the 2. 1, 2, 3. Add in the 4. 3, 4, 5. Add in the 6. 5, 6, 7. And we've got A minor 7. B half diminished. 1, 3, 5, 7. Starting on the 7th degree of C. B half diminished arpeggio. Fill in 1, 2, 3, 4 between the 3, 4, and 5. And 6 between the 5, 6, and 7, and back to 1. And we have all of the scales that we will need in the key of C. But, now here's the fun part. We could do that in a common sense kind of way, and it's perfectly good and perfectly usable. But we can also use our ears and fill in those arpeggios with whatever notes sound good to us. And I mean whatever notes sound good to you. This is why Thelonious Monk sounds like Thelonious Monk, and why Charlie Parker sounded like Charlie Parker, and Dizzy Gillespie sounded like Dizzy Gillespie, and Grant like Grant, and Wes like Wes. Because they were empowered through a very simple approach to use their ears to create and seek out those harmonies that they liked. The problem sometimes with a modal approach is it tells you these are the notes you play and don't leave those notes. You become kind of boxed in, and if your ear is hearing something else, you feel it's not okay for me to leave this modal situation. With arpeggios, you have the freedom. Let me demonstrate that real quick. Let's say we go back to our C major 7 again. Of course, our home base, our security blanket, 1, 3, 5, 7. But let's say I hear, what do I hear between C and E? C, E, C, D, E. That's a pretty safe bet. I'm going up now, E from the 3rd to the 5th, E, F sharp, G. I like that sound. So what if I put together a scale that's... And now from G and B, what am I going to put in between the G and the B? The 5th and the 7th. Maybe I'll do... Now, I have these notes. And that is absolutely correct and viable and musical and useful in improvising. And if I was to try to find a name for that scale, there wouldn't really be one, except to call it Fried's cool scale for C major 7, number 1. And you can do that for any chord. Let's go to D minor 7. Take our arpeggio. Let's fill it in how we want to fill it in. Let's put... Perfectly fine. A little bit of an Arabic kind of sound, but I'm Arabic, so, you know, that makes sense. Let's go to E minor 7. Let's create our arpeggio. And we fill in. Da, dee, dee, da, dee, dee, da, da. Okay, that's perfectly useful, perfectly correct scale. Still an E minor 7 scale with a few different notes, and just as long as we hear those notes and enjoy them, work them out, we're perfectly good. We can continue that through the F major, G7, A minor. Frankly, any chord we come across, if we can play the 4-note arpeggio, we can fill it in by ear, we can create whatever sound we want. And that's part of the magic of using these scales that are built from arpeggios.